Just because a company's tied into a powerful long-term theme, that doesn't necessarily mean that its stock can come up a winner. Look at what happened to Synaptics, SYNA. It's a company that's all about the rise of connectivity and the Internet of Things. Synaptics makes what they call human interface solutions. Think touchpads for smartphones and tablets, fingerprint readers, high-quality displays that are used in all sorts of devices, including cars. Earlier this summer, Synaptics announced two major deals. They're buying Connexit Systems, that's a leader in voice and audio processing technology for the smart home, and the multimedia solution business of Marvell Technologies, an audio and video processing technology play. The idea here is that this will give Synaptics more exposure to the Internet of Things. Think all the voice-activated devices we have now, as well as streaming video. Market cheered these deals. But then Synaptics reported 3 weeks ago, and while they delivered a modest top and bottom line beat, the guidance for both the next quarter and the next year was a lot weaker than people were expecting, with the company forecasting low single-digit revenue growth for 2018. Synaptics is seeing softness in mobile, weakness in China, slowdown in touch and display integration, and a soft spot with one particular customer. In fact, if you back out the impact of the Connexit and Marvell deals, the company's forecasting a 10% revenue decline next year. Ouch. And that's why the stock tumbled 10% on the news. Analysts hammered the stock. It's now down 26% for the year. That said, we're always willing to listen to the other side of the story. So let's check in with Rick Bergman, the president and CEO of Synaptics, get a better sense of how this company's doing. Mr. Bergman, welcome to Mad Money.
Oh, thank you very much, Jim.
Okay, so Rick, there's kind of a gap here. You've got a Connexit acquisition. I know this company very, very well. At one point, I owned 4% of it when I was a hedge fund manager, and the Marvell acquisitions. But the other hand, you have the slowdown that you just experienced. So could you kind of give me the brief first time on about why someone should wade in and buy the stock right now when there is such uncertainty about the very near term, even if the later term could be very good?
Well, Jim, as you mentioned earlier, some of the key cycles are really in our favor. So there's a big transition ongoing in the smartphone market around the new display types. And over the last several years, we've been building key capabilities to be ready for that transition in the display, in the fingerprint area, in the touch area. So in that core mobile business, we're well positioned as screens shift into the what's called the OLED displays. And then, of course, as you mentioned, in the IoT space, we've just finishing up 2 of these major acquisitions, which give us a whole new area for us to grow as we look forward over the next 12 to 36 months.
Now, Connexit has a terrific tie with Amazon, with Alexa. Will that continue now that it's part of the Synaptics family?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We have a long history with Amazon ourselves, and Connexit's just done a great job enabling that ecosystem with Amazon, as well as other ecosystems around the world, such as in China, such as Baidu or Tencent. And we're in the middle of all those different ecosystems with this incredible voice technology that's just become a part of Synaptics over the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Okay, we like voice and we like OLED. Where are you positioned OLED?
Well, as I said, with OLED, we have display drivers.
Right.
We're ready to go. As soon as the panel manufacturers are ready to ramp, we're ready to ramp with them. We have something that's called an in-display fingerprint solution, where you can actually authenticate right on your screen, so you don't have to have the home button anymore. And that's a really key technology. And, of course, what we're best known for is touch. You want flawless touch performance when you have a smart screen. And again, we're the leaders in #1 market share with touch.
But the company, you did mention in the conference call that the fingerprint business is a little bit weaker and that a major customer may not use your sensing. Are we through that? Are we worried about that?
Well, we're going through a transition, and that certainly presents opportunity for us. So the transition we're going through is today most people have a fingerprint sensor on the front of their phone, in the button, or in the back of the phone. Not the greatest places to put it. So we've innovated, and by the end of this calendar year, we'll be in mass production with what we call an optical fingerprint, which allows you to actually authenticate on your screen. So literally it'll say authenticate here right in the middle of the screen. No buttons, a perfectly beautiful display to maximize your display area and the ease of use for the end user.
So that does have customers. We know, even though sometimes I know you can't name customers, but there's a great demand for that particular product.
We're seeing interest from all the OEMs out there. We did, during that call that you mentioned, formally announce that we have one major Chinese Tier 1 OEM that will be deploying that technology by the end of the calendar year. It's past the qualification. It's a very difficult technology, so we've been hard at work for several years on that technology.
Last question: Where are you in automotive? Because that's been a pretty terrific market for some of the chip companies I deal with.
Yeah, automotive is wonderful because once you get designed in, it just keeps growing and growing. It has a very long life, unlike some of the other consumer products. So we started 2 or 3 years ago. We have all types of different design-ins with the major OEMs. And just starting now, we're starting to see that turn into revenue. And over the next 2 to 3 years, it will become a significant revenue and profitability source for Synaptics.
Well, terrific. Okay, Rick, I'm glad you made a good brief for the company. Rick Bergman's president and CEO of Synaptics. Thank you so much for coming on Mad Money.
Thank you very much.
All right, there's a lot of future ahead for the company. Obviously, I want you to read all the documents so you understand exactly what the trials are for it. But obviously, the future looks pretty bright. Mad Money's back after the break. Booyah! Jim Cramer here from Mad Money. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube. Click here to subscribe and get the jump on my exclusives with CEOs, plus market news, investing advice, and a whole lot more.